All right, so I made it back home about 8:10, so that's not bad. It was about, I think it was like 5 or 6, and I was like, I need to start to figure out how I'm gonna get home. Because usually getting to a place is a lot easier. Getting back is always a little bit difficult. So I'm asking, okay, where can I find a bus back to Panama? Because remember, they say Panama. Wherever you leave Panama City, you go anywhere, they say Panama. And I'm like, I am in Panama, but they're in the District of Panama, so I get it now. So the young man, I went to the one of the entrances, they had two. And then he said, oh, yeah, you have to go back that way for the exit. Where are the buses? He said, oh, it's around there, but you have to go back to the exit and then walk around. So I walk on the gravel to the exit, yes. And I didn't ask him where the buses are. So, and then I had to go walk back a narrow road where people were coming in to go into the parking lot, and then traffic was coming towards me. I've been sure they were coming towards me, so at least I can, move. No wheel sidewalk, of course, typical of Panama. So every time, the cars were really close, but I didn't get hit. So I got to the end. I was like, okay, where do I go? Right or left? I said, okay, I'll go left. So I go left. And then I was like in kind of somewhat of a residential area because the highway is like back that way. And I could not cross from the entrance to go over. And he's like, ooh, no, 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 no. Don't take that chance. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to do that. So I stood there. Finally, I said, okay, let me get a cab and ask where the bus stop is. So I flagged this cab and I said, I want you to take me to a parada de bus. That means a bus stop. He said, blah, 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 where do you want to go? I said, I need to go back to Panama. Directo. Directo means directly. I'm like, yes. He said, oh, la autopista. And I know autopista means the highway. I'm like, yeah, because I needed to be on the other side. And usually on the highway, if there's people standing, they're going to stop. This is not like in the city, right, where we have designated bus stops. So I said, okay. And I said, ¿cuánto? He said, $2. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking in my purse. I have 2 20s. And usually taxis do not have change for 20. And I'm like, why did I buy the pineapple and everything else that I bought? So I said, okay, so I'm counting my change, and the change I have $1.85. I'm like, okay, because sometimes when you say you don't have the whole exact amount, whatever you have, they say, okay, damn it, give it to me. So he went round, and I was like, oh, he's getting to the highway, and then there was a spot. I remember we dropped one of our sisters at that spot. She lives in Arahan, and she took a taxi. So I'm like, oh, I remember that spot. It's like on the highway. There are cars coming this way, and you have this this much space to stand. And you should have seen me trying to get out of this cab because the guy had his seat pushed back. My foot got. It was not pretty. So finally, I stood there. The bus came, and I paid him. It was okay. But anyway, I had a blast. I love going to that area. So I'm going to look in the news to see if I show up because this young lady who covers La Chorrera for TVN. I was passing her and then she stopped me. And she's like, oh, are you enjoying it? I'm like, because, I stand out there, see me, look at my hair and they're like, oh, she's not Chorrera. And then she said, did you like it? I said, I loved it. What did you like about it? I'm like, la comida, la gente, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, where are you from? I said, this city. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So I hope I am. And I'm going to have my camera ready to record if they show it. Last time I was on the same TV station, it was around the holidays when they asked me, and I said how much I love the chicha de sari. But anyway, my gosh, it was really about agriculture. This is what I like about that type of area where, the animals, the horses, the cows, I loved it. The chickens, when I was doing the live, I showed all that, amazing. And then there is one section where they show, it's like a trellis on top where the squash was hanging I have a love affair with squash. I'm like, wow, this is so nice. And then I looked to the left, there was a patch where the guy was just grabbing pineapple, twisting them and selling them for $1. First of all, I went to another place and the guy said, this pile two for $1. I'm like, okay, I need pineapple. I'm crazy about pineapple, okay? So I got these two for $1. I'm like, oh, this is nice. But then because he was getting it from the patch, I'm like, give me that one. It wasn't that big, but I got this one for $1. So I got pineapple. So I am a happy camper. But tonight, I need to cut my papaya. It's been a couple of days, but I was just kind of lazy. But anyway, I had a blast. Last time I went to something and I'm like, I love it. I want to go back. I'm going to try to go back again next year. And then it's going to be, it's not as good as the first year. But anyway, lots of rides, lots of food. There was a huge nursery type thing. People came to get plants. And I saw this Japanese plant. I was tempted to get it, but with the pineapple, I wasn't going to be able to carry it. So it was too bad, but it was beautiful. I love the chickens. I love the animals. I love that they had, I tried to get on a carousel ride, and then I say, it's only for children. He said, yes, ma'am, you're too old. He didn't say I'm too old, but I was going to ride one. Listen, I remember how we returned into our infancy. I wanted to try it, but he wouldn't let me. But the things inside, up and down, I've never done roller coasters. I don't do that. So they had a lot of that. And then there was an area where people were still able to get their 4 bags of rice for like $5 or something. So that was going on. People were eating up galore. I did try a little kebab of, he said, res. That means it was beef. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything to, but I don't like hot dogs. And I took a picture of the guy, the way they take the knife and put it around the sausage or whatever you want to call that. They stick that kebab type thing in it, and then they stretch it, and that's how they grill it, and then they put the sauce in. People were eating this left and right. No, I didn't have that. I was going to get a pipa, which is the cold coconut, but I said, let me figure out how to get back home. And I'm so glad I did, because 8:15, and I took the bus on the other side and then crossed the overpass, because at night I don't take the metro because that area is like, so you have to always be safety conscious even when you're having fun. Anyway, I loved going to that feria. So I'm waiting for the next one, because if I watch TVN, they're going to tell me what the next one is, because they have ferias del año, 2026. So they have ferias everywhere. I like the one they had in Chiriquí, and maybe I'm going to try to be in David Boquete area when they're going to have that. But it's not, usually they're not where you get public transportation, so they're kind of offshoot. So having a car, these are the times where you wish you had a car, but then I had to find parking, and that's okay, I'm good. All right. Thank you so much. I hope I shared a lot with you. The polleras were there. The band was there. It was a lovely time, a family time. It makes me fall in love with Panama evermore. Te amo, Panama. Bye. Buenas noches.